Hope everybody's doing well. And today we are going to discuss the subject of the dark night of the soul. Probably one of the most impactful aspects of our lives if we come to the understanding that we've gone through it and what its ramifications are. We all go through some type of experience in our life that shakes us up and puts us on a new wavelength of thinking and probably a new wavelength of behaving. Just coming to the awareness of that aspect of our life is an important part of it. So the dark night of the soul, as we'll discuss today, this evening, is probably the most painful and probably also the best possible, most transformative thing that anyone can experience at some point in their life. And in simple terms, it's a spiritual crisis, an ego death, an existential crisis where we lose an illusionary identity. And in many aspects, it's spurred on by a death of someone close to us, can be an illness that we go through, a hardship, financial crisis that we feel, a relationship breakup, or in some aspects on a spiritual level, a near-death experience. And in a state of in some cases, is very close to what's conventionally called, I guess, a depression. And many people who feel this depression and they have this loss that nothing makes sense anymore, and there's no purpose to anything, a sense of confusion, helplessness, which causes a sense of us to go through a withdrawal from the things that we once were comfortable doing. And so the meaning of life, right? Our achievements, our values, our friends, the lifestyle we had, the relationships we valued, it all collapses. And in that collapse, what really collapses is the framework of our lives, the meaning of the things we once gave energy to, which puts us in a dark place and in a place of conflict and a place what we're no longer familiar with, right? And what happens in that state of transformation, we grow into a state of consciousness where life then begins to have meaning. But it's no longer a conceptual meaning that you can really necessarily explain, but it's a change that takes place within our lives where we no longer feel the same. We no longer act the same. We no longer speak the same. We no longer resonate with certain people. Certain people drop out of our lives. And we come to this place of solitude, of loneliness, of emptiness. But then again, as I mentioned before, we pick ourselves up and our framework of our mindset changes and shifts. And it's an important aspect for us to go through in order for us to really find out our true essence. In other words, when that ego sense dies and we go through that existential crisis or the spiritual crisis, then we wind up coming through the other side a changed and different person. And just as the snake sheds its skin, right? And animals lose the external aspect of themselves for seasonal change, and even hair, right? We wind up shedding aspects of ourselves that no longer play a role or an aspect for us. And so we transform to something different, to something better. And hopefully, I'm sure many of you out there have had some type of existential crisis, some type of dark night of the soul. That dark night of the soul which awakens us, right? That shines a light on the dark, that exposes us to our true essence of who we really are, the power, the strength that we can give off, the warrior, the person that eventually uses the lessons that they experience as a means of teaching, of sharing wisdom, and finding one's own power. And that's the real benefit of this all, that through hardship and through change and through tragedy, we're sparked, become something better, something different. So I'd like for you today to do is during our journey is to find out what dark night of the soul, it could have been a spiritual awakening, but what did you experience in your dark night of the soul? or if you didn't label it as such, maybe you can refer back to it and see what the journey brings to you or what information it gives you. And so in terms of assisting you in better understanding your journey on this path. Okay, so what we'll do is we will go on a shamanic journey. It'll be shamanic journey number 67, right? To the dark night of the soul. And we will ask the spirit animal to assist us in some of the things I just mentioned before and see what information you get. If you're new to this, just have an open mind and allow information to flow through you. And don't judge anything, don't stop anything, don't question anything, just let the information flow through you, and that will give you information, and you'll be surprised at what you receive. Okay, so if you can get into a comfortable place, either seated or lying down, closing your eyes, covering your eyes preferably, and relaxing and taking a deep breath in, and exhaling. Take a deep breath in, and exhale. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Get yourself comfortable, cover your eyes, and let's go on our shamanic journey. We walk on an open valley with grass up to our shins. The greenery is an emerald color, and the sun is shining brightly on us. As we walk, we find a little dirt path. Look to the left and right of us and amazed by the beauty of the nature around us. As we continue walking up ahead through this open field, we see the entrance to a forest. Follow the path. The path is straight and surrounded by pine trees. And we can smell the trees and nature around us. As we continue walking, we hear the birds whistling in the trees and sounds coming from the forest. We take a deep breath in and exhale. The path veers to the left, and we follow it. To the left and right, the pine trees blanket each side of the road, the path we walk. As we continue walking, the path slopes downward, and it takes us into a cave. We follow the cave inward through the darkness. Carefully walking through it with our hands guiding us. other side shining through. We come out the other side. And to the right is a big boulder. We find a comfortable place on this boulder to sit. Take a deep breath in and close our eyes. And as we open them, we look to the right. What spirit animal do you see? You ask the spirit animal about the dark night of the soul. The conflict that took place in your life. And you listen for the answers. breath in. And you thank your spirit animal for the information that it passed on. And you head back for the cave. You find the opening and enter the dark, cavernous area. As you feel your way and look for the lighter side. And as you make your way out, you head back on the path. You follow the slope upwards as it turns to the right. As you walk in the pine forest. You take an inhalation and exhale. Up ahead, you see the path to the valley with the green grass to the left and right. And you walk on that path. Up ahead on the left is a large boulder. You put your hands on the boulder. Feel the energy, the vibrations that emanate from it. You thank the boulder for exchanging the energy with you. Your hands, and you continue walking out of the forest. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Move your fingers, move your toes, shrug your shoulders. And when you're ready, come back into the room. Okay, so today was Shamanic Journey number 67 to the Dark Night of the Soul. And again, the Dark Night of the Soul is a transformative, painful, but also transformative in terms of being a positive aspect of going through something dark, of a spiritual crisis, an ego death, an existential crisis, and usually spurred on by some type of setback, illness, disease, right, death, or near-death experience. And these experiences themselves shape and shift us into a different mindset and put us on a different level of consciousness. And if you're fortunate enough to have experienced it and have turned up through the other side in a transformed state of consciousness, then life has a specific type of meaning again, right? It's no longer a conceptual meaning that you can explain. It's more something that you just feel and you know. Okay, so hopefully you had a good experience in terms of this journey and some of the information that was presented to you. And hopefully you have a wonderful week ahead. And in terms of the energies that we're feeling and the solar flares and those strong energies themselves, make sure that you drink enough water and that you get exercise, and obviously keeping yourself hydrated, getting salt, and being positive, and knowing that we're headed for a great transformation. And it's important for us to do this work so that we can evolve. All right, hopefully you have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you next week. Take care.